Good morning, everybody. Let's explore the cave just before we go fishing. Not creepy at all. Not creepy at all. Whew, it goes far. Ah, I made it to the end. There's a wall here. Well, that was fun. Oh, yeah. Oh no, I thought it was a horn tip, but it's just a stick. That's about it. You can see it outside from here. Because the ceiling is really low. There we are. Whew. And there is the river we are fishing today. This is one of my favorite rivers and a really special river for me because it's the one where all my fly fishing stories started, and I guess let's see how it goes today. I have fished here many times, I have hiked here many times, and I have caught my biggest trout here ever in such a small stream. Yeah, so let me just change in my wading attire and let's start. So I'm all dressed up and ready to start moving to the river. But just 1 second and let me tell you about what we're using today. We're working with this little thing. And what even is that? This is a Tenkara rod. In previous videos I mentioned that we will try something like this on this channel, and I will show you how to fish with it. I have this little rod for 3 years now, I think, and once we're hiking to the fishing spot I will tell you a couple stories about why and how I came to this thing of a fly rod. Some might even discuss if it can be considered a fly rod, if even it is a fly rod, but yeah, so we're just gonna start hiking. We're gonna talk a little bit about this rod and what it is and how it's used. Mainly, the river we're fishing today is really small. It's really tiny and has a lot of brush growing over it, and it would be a pretty tricky day with a regular fly rod. And yeah, so we're using a small Tenkara rod. Of course it lengthens up, but you'll see that. So we are having a little bit of a hike in to do. Actually the river is just going along this like logging road that I'm hiking on. But since I have been in this river a couple of times, as I said before, I know where the deeper parts, the best spots are at. So I'm getting a little bit closer to them, and it's not always said that a spot that worked previously will work again just as good. Let's talk about the Tenkara rod and why I even fish with that, and yeah, what is it and all that. So basically, the Tenkara fishing has come from Japan, and it's also called a Eastern type of fly fishing rod because it comes from Far East. And why I started to looking at it, because I was always wondering how it would be for me to start fly fishing in some sort of way. I drilled it into my brain that my country where I live in, it won't be possible to fly fish because the streams are so small. We don't have like the open plains like other big countries and with the big rivers, and yeah, no open rivers, and it would be just snagging it all the time in the leaves and brush and all that. And I was like, okay, so fly fishing is just not for me because I live here. That's what I was saying to myself. Later on, I saw some videos from people in my country that are starting to fly fish, and I'm like, what? Okay, maybe there are some couple rivers where you can do it. I was like, okay, but I always like those small, tiny rivers like this one. And yeah, and I was like, how to fish those, you know? Then I came up on fly fishing channel, a guy who films only how he fishes with a Tenkara rod. And at first glance I was like, what is that dude's problem? Like, what is he holding in his hand, and did he make the rod himself, or like what even is that? And I was like super skeptical at first. And I was like watching and seeing, and I was like, okay, but the rivers he's visiting are fairly similar to what I'm doing, and if it works for him, it will most certainly work for me, right? And a couple months later, I'm ordering a Tenkara setup with all the lines, with all the flies, and the rod itself, and yeah, and I started trying it out. And long and behold, it was a great tool for fly fishing. Yeah, and that's basically how I came about it. But there still was that itch that a Tenkara rod couldn't scratch, that I wanted to use normal, like regular type of fly fishing rod. And yeah, you already saw that in other videos. And this channel in general was never thought to be like about strictly fly fishing with a Western rod, strictly trout fishing, or strictly something. It was like just a dude who goes outside and does a bunch of things, but we are a little bit hung up on that trout topic, and that's just because this guy doesn't seem to be catching any trout this season, only grayling and chub and stuff like that. But today I'm really optimistic to fix it, and I think that we have hiked to a place where we could start. Okay, I have set up my backpack just right here, so it's easier for me to set up. And I already saw some fish trailing along the shore in this little turn, so things are looking good. And let me show you how these things look. Let me just so basically I have already prepared like lines for specific lengths. On this side I have a 11-foot line, on this side I have 8-foot line. It's all approximate, so don't take me for granted. And here I have like 4 other those round thingies with a bunch of lengths. So Tenkara idea is like, if you need to cast a little bit further, just switch up lines. You have like a preset lines like 7-foot, 8-foot, 9, 5 even, or 15-foot. The longer the line, it's a little bit harder to cast and work with. And yeah, so I'm gonna use something at around 8-9 foot length, It's the line completely is almost exactly as long as my rod is going to be, so it's going to be pretty easy casting and fairly easy to work in such a brushed area. So yeah, I'm just taking off, whoops, I'm just taking off the cap, stop the cap, and then you have to pull out the tip of the rod. I'm explaining like nobody knows what Tenkara is, but I assume that not many people do. Fly fishermen do, of course. And you have to be really careful because you can see that the tip of the rod just becomes the line. It doesn't have a ring or anything. So you just want to uncover the line thing, Lillian, before you do anything. And now I'm taking off my flies here and the line, just like extending it out. Ouch. I'm just gonna drop it a little bit further so it doesn't tangle up on me. And just rolling it out, that's it. This one waits for a second. And in the end of it, I have a little loop. Hope you can see it. Probably not. But yeah, there's a loop. And I'm just gonna put the lily and the line thingy inside the loop, twist it around a bunch of times, and my line is gonna be set. And that's it. And that's why I kind of like Tenkara rods, because the setup is so quick and so easy, and you can like toss it in your car, just like you don't feel like you have a rod in your car. It's just like this little thing that extends to the full length. So yeah, it's really easy and good for people who want to pack light, who want to go light. Yeah, we're traveling a lot and you see a nice stream on the long side of the road. You can just pop this out and you're ready to fish. And that's it, and I'm ready to fish as well. I have snagged something up already. Let me just set down the rod. It's gonna be interesting. I haven't fished with it for like almost a year from the last fall. I haven't fished with it, so it's gonna be a good test. I was a bit scared how the river will look, because all the other rivers and basically every river is the water levels are really low, but this one is pretty good. So yeah, everything looks fine as long as we are here now. So let's just track a little bit back and start our first cast. Using a light top fly, and oh, a first fish. Nice, first fish. And what is it? What is it? What is it? It's again not a trout, not a grayling. It's the wimba bream. I thought I saw my fly disappear. Let me just grab it like this. Oh, it came out by itself. The first fish. Okay. Usually those guys are not too weak, but I'm gonna wet my hand anyways. And just like this. Small fishy. Go, buddy. Okay. We're what? 2 minutes on the river? That's cool. And yeah, we are working with a light top fly like this, which is a wet fly, but it doesn't sink too much. It's fine. And a little small nymph like this. Let's try again. I'm feeling like the setup is perfect. The nymph is dropping down to the perfect depth. The wet fly on the top stays in the perfect depth as well. The only thing that's bothering me is the amount of mosquitoes biting into my head. Fish was the only one in this hole. Maybe it is like that. Yeah, we hung up on a log. It seems. I'm trying to be really quiet in this little river because, yeah, it's like so intimate and so delicate. Probably every movement and every noise that I make is heard upriver like crazy. Desnagged ourselves with a boot technique. It's the best technique when you don't want to put your hand under the water. Okay. Oh, it's so beautiful. Yeah, just what I'm saying. Just what I was saying. So beautiful is a... I can't talk. Why I can't talk? I was saying how beautiful it is out here. I was slipping in just that second. Let's do another bow cast in that deeper pool right there. 1, 2, 3, go. So delicate. Yeah, I think I'm gonna change the bottom fly. It's messing up all my spots. Maybe I will try only the deep places where I'm sure that it's not gonna happen. But okay, let's go on for a bit. And if this keeps going on, we'll change a bit. And yeah, the only thing with the Tenkara rod, it's even longer than fly rod is. That's why it's a little bit harder to maneuver on the bank. But on the water, it's a little bit easier because you can just dab the fly in, like dab it over the water, and it does the trick. You don't have to cast around so much. Yeah, I was afraid that this is going to happen, that I'm going to want to try every spot I see, not just the good spots. There's a nice deeper pool, let's try that. Well, this is it. That spot, first trout of the season. I'll say the second trout of the season. But look how small it is. It's like super small. I don't even want to touch it with my bare hand. So I'm just gonna flick it out of the net like this. There he sits. Dude has a shock for sure. Yeah, he came out from there. That's a really small fish. I don't even want to count it as a first trout of the season. If you have watched my other videos, then you'll remember that I already told that I caught a trout on my fly rod, but I didn't count it because it was like almost the same size as this one. Just net him on the bottom nymph. Let's drop the nymph down. And this guy's really small. It's like a 1-year-old. They're beautiful though. Hope you can see him. Just a small fish. I'm not gonna touch him because those little ones are really brittle. I'm hiding behind some grass, and there's a decent spot in front of me. And my bottom fly is getting. Oh, got one. I saw my top fly just dart up. So there are small guys living in this place. It's just gonna net him like this, and then let's free him in the water. You can set your rod in the grass like so. Where you are, little guy. Flies out. Beautiful little trout. There he goes. And yeah, I was saying that my bottom fly is getting really messed up from all those bites. And yeah, it starts to come out. The yarn is coming out of it. Again. Yeah, smallies. Just smallies here. And this is the spot where I caught the big trout. I told previously. The biggest one I've ever caught, actually. From this spot. And there was a fish rising there, so we'll try there as well. Just a smallie again. Just a smallie. Let's put him in water. And let's free him. Here's the nymph. Well, at least we're catching trout, right? But they're so small all the time. Let's let him go. I think I'm just gonna flop the net over. Okay, where's my fly? That's so weird. Places where a big trout were holding a couple of years ago in almost the same time as now. They're like only really small ones. That's really weird. Let's try there. I can see some fish like darting around, but they're all really small. The big ones are usually just coming out of the cover for a split second, so you can't actually see them as good. But yeah, I need a better positioning as well here. There's some kind of a beaver river coming in, which we have to cross in some or other way. Knowing that there's such a small fish in there, I'm wanting to almost move on, because not to bother them too much. The small ones are really brittle, really weak. Just a single touch from the warmth of your hands can kill them later on, because they have like a protective layer on their bodies, and when you touch them with like 36 or more degrees, the protective layer is just like wiping off, like with a sandpaper. For us, it doesn't feel like anything, but for them it's like sandpaper, hot sandpaper. And the problem is that when the protective layer gets off, they're prone to like all kinds of infections and sicknesses. So that's why you shouldn't handle trout at all, like in general, even the big ones. Of course you can handle them with a wet hand, just for a brief moment, but it's better not to. For those smaller ones, it's like crucial not to. Yeah, the other river is again really shallow, so I'm just gonna pass along the way once I see something more promising. Please be a deer. I heard like it wasn't a beaver, because I heard like dun 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 dun. Beaver would have swam for sure. I'm just gonna crawl to the other side so I can create a bit of a distance, in case if it was a bear or something like that. I shouldn't be too paranoid about bears, but just this morning I was informed about multiple bear sightings near this area. Like they're getting so much. There's so many around where I live, and it's not like in America or Canada. It's like there was a bear sighting 3,000 miles away. Everything in my country is near. There are no 3,000 miles. It's like 100 kilometers this way, 100 kilometers that way. So it was something that just was like hopping away. I really hope it was a deer, and we should just go there and see from the tracks. I think that's sometimes a problem for me, and it worked just now. Another tiny one. They're so tiny, oh my god. I have netted the world's tiniest trout. Probably hatched last year. Dude, do you eat something? You should try to eat something so you get a little bit bigger. Spat the nymph. I'm not gonna handle it too much. But they're beautiful though. Imagine this, but like 3 times as big. That would be cool. For some reason it looked like I should cast in here. And yeah, this river is again a really strong river for salmon spawning grounds. and you can see that here, again, there's a deeper part. There's like a shelf with tiny rocks. It's like a perfect depiction of salmon spawning beds. They're like flopping around with their tails in there, like cleaning out all the sand from the rocks, and they're like laying their eggs in that stuff. So it is also a good thing not to walk over those places like straight up, because you never know where the spawning takes place, and yeah, if you can, then just not walk straight across it. Got a better sized fish, and it looks like a trout this time. Not a big one, but still something you can call a trout. Fights like crazy. In the net. Okay, let's set down the rod for a second. Yeah, that's trout. A good looking one. Let me just free the nymph. I'm gonna need my forceps for this one. The nymph is like almost out, but it's barbless as well. Come on now, buddy. Oh, now he's patted. Okay. So let's just give him a quick release. There he goes. Nice. That one you can already call a trout, I would say. Still a small one, but better than those previous ones. Came right under that log there. Probably should keep my thongs a little bit closer to me. There's a good place here, and I saw some fish rising, and I did already a couple of casts, and again, small ones are like bumping into my flies, rising up and then deciding not to in the last second, and they're making a big splash when they're doing that. I think I just got a fish on, but I didn't set the hook. As soon as the sun comes out, they're getting like super sketchy. They're not attacking as much. Got super shallow again. We have came to a nice, I don't know why I keep saying we, but I have come to a nice camping spot right here with a fireplace, with some logs to sit on. The forest is beautiful though around me. It's like spruce and pine trees. The river is just right here. It started to shrink a little bit, but we are in fact like 3 kilometers upstream from the middle part of it. So yeah, we are closer to the beginning of the river. So it makes sense it gets a little bit smaller. And I think we're gonna just have a little break, a little supper, have that one decent spot in mind that could have and could hold a little bit bigger fish. And yeah, so I'm gonna show you what is up for the menu today. It's starting to boil in there, and I'm getting scared that it will just bounce off. Not that bad. Not that bad. Bread, some deer meat, and that's it. I don't have a system. That's why everything is so chaotic. Okay. Let me just pause my hiking. We're out for like 3 hours and 20 minutes. That's really good. But I think that I'm not gonna torture you too much with this. So it's 3 o'clock now, and not gonna lie, I took a little nap on that campsite log. And yeah, we are really close to that part where I really wanted to reach and try to get something. And yeah, I don't know what I even wanted to say with this video, but with this section, but yeah, we're really close. I will grab my backpack and head out to it. And even here I can see some smaller fish just cruising around. I can see already that they are not trout, but still, yeah. So it should be like a couple bends across that place, which I want to show you guys. Second camera battery died, so we're on to our last one. And yeah, we have to make it count in this meadowy area of the river. Well, regardless, it's really beautiful out here. I really like how it looks. I think those meadow rivers are one of my favorites because, you know, forest rivers are also beautiful and they're perfect in their own way. But when you just see like an open meadow like this and a river flowing in the middle of it, it seems kind of funky. It feels like the river shouldn't be there. Yeah, right where that hillside is, it appears that could be a good spot right there. So I'm probably just gonna hike up this little hillside and just trail until I reach there. We're now fishing with our top fly only. I think that only makes our chances higher, right? Well, the only thing I can think of is that the monstrous trout isn't there at the moment. And we shall move on. I did try a couple spots when hiking back. We got another one of those white fish. Let me just set the camera down. Yep, that's it. What once was a nice trout spot is now a prime spot for wimba. I just saw a fish rise here and making a big splash. What's up, buddy? Fell down? There was a fish rising. Saw it just here. For some reason, couldn't catch it right now. scenery is beautiful. It's nice. Second time stopping by here, by this place. And looks like it's silent here as well this time. Silent today at this time again. One thing I don't understand, how do I always keep ending up on those fishing trips after I've had just the most grueling leg day in the previous day in the gym. And now my legs are just about to fall off. And it's all the time like that. I'm seated down on a log this time. It can mean only one thing. Yeah, this episode and session itself, after almost 5 hours, is closing to its end. Basically, yeah. So what did we do today? We had a decent day at the river. We had, at least I caught like dozen of fish, I would say. Some trout. All of them were like crazy small, like trout babies, and only one was like, which you could already start calling a trout, but also that one was like a criminally small. Yeah, I did manage to remember how is it going about with a Tenkara rod. I still would say from fly fishing prefer the regular fly rod, but in a situation like here where the river is so tiny and the casting distance is so close, it actually is a little bit more handy to just not make the full cast and being able to just dab the fly in near you. And yeah, so Tenkara rods aren't so bad. Usually regular fly fishermen are giving Tenkara fly fishermen a hard time, saying that it's not fly fishing and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not that bad. For a change, it's interesting to work with this one. What else? Yeah, all the places in this river which I thought is going to produce a decent sized and decent amount of fish was like completely empty, and mainly those like faster moving aerated areas were productive. And yeah, none of those places where the water is deep and slow, no. So that really surprised me. And yeah, for years and years this river has changed a lot. And like 3 years ago I caught my biggest trout in here, and the river seemed a lot healthier. There are a lot more fish, it seems, and if not a lot more fish, but in general, then a lot more trout at least. Because now it was like bait fish, like whitefish, some kind of bream type of fish, and yeah. So it saddens me a little bit, but I guess there's some kind of change going on all the time. Maybe I just am at this river too late, because it's more like a spring river. In the summer you can see how overgrown it is and how hard it is to maneuver here. But yeah, maybe I should try it out again in later autumn. But yeah, that's about it about this episode. I have around 4.5, yeah, still 4.5, 5 kilometers back to my starting point. If I'm gonna see something interesting, I'm gonna stop by and make a couple more casts, but if not, and if I don't catch anything more, then probably this is it for this episode. Yeah, thank you for supporting, thank you for watching the videos. Leave a comment what you would like to see again. I have some interesting videos relating fishing, not so much for trout, coming up. So yeah, I think it's going to be just more and more fun in the future. Leave a like if you like this episode. Share this one with your friends. Yeah, and just click on that subscribe button. It really helps out. I guess see you in the next one.